Will plus base. This has two main uses. The first is an immediate decision about what you're going to do. Example, I'll go and get my umbrella. The second is a general prediction. Example, you'll be sick if you eat more cake. Be going plus infinitive. This also has two uses. The first is a personal intention. Example, I'm going to go home now. The second is a prediction for the future based on what you observe in the present. Example, look out, we're going to hit the car in front. Present continuous. This is used for fixed plans or arrangements. Example, we are meeting at the restaurant at 7 p.m. Present simple. This is used for unalterable arrangements or facts, often with transport. Example, the plane leaves in 4 hours. Will plus continuous. This has three main uses. The first is to talk about an action which will be in progress at some point in the future. Example, don't drop by too early because I will be putting my son to bed. The second is to talk about an activity which happens during a period in the future. Example, we will be working on this project until the end of the year. The third is to talk about an action which happens because it is regular or decided. Example, I'll tell him about it as I'll be seeing him later. Will plus perfect. This is used to describe an event which will be finished before a specified time in the future. Example, I'll have eaten all the biscuits by the time he arrives. Will plus perfect continuous. This is used to describe a state of affairs in progress during a period of time up to a specified time in the future. Example, we'll have been living here for 10 years next May. Be plus infinitive. This is used for official arrangements or orders. Example, he is to receive an award. You're to stay here until you've apologized. Future perfect is formed as follows: subject plus will plus have plus verb 3. And it's used to talk about things that will have finished before a specified point in the future. Examples, I will have written nearly 100 emails by tonight. He will have eaten all the biscuits by midnight. The future perfect often uses phrases like by the time or before to introduce another clause. And this is a future time clause. And it's really important to remember that in this clause we do not use will, just the present tense. Examples, by the time we arrive home, my son will have cleaned his room. They will have solved the problem by the time the boss returns. We don't commonly use will in time clauses. And time clauses are clauses introduced by words such as when, before, until, as soon as. Examples, I'm not going to speak to her until she apologizes. I'll tell him as soon as he arrives. But we can use will in conditional clauses, clauses which are introduced by if, unless, providing, under some very special circumstances. A first special circumstance is to express annoyance at somebody's insistence to do something. Example, if you will drive so fast, you must expect some accidents. A second special circumstance is for a very polite request. Example, if you'll hold my bags, I can open the door. We should remember that in reported speech, instead of using will, we use would. Examples, Harry asked me if I would help him out. They promised they would work all weekend. Just about to. This means in a very short time. Example, we are just about to go out. On the point of. This means in a very, very short time. Example, we are on the point of leaving when the doorbell rang. To be due to. This means to have an arrangement to do something. Example, we are due to meet in half an hour. In due course. This means at the appropriate time. Example, we'll deal with that in due course. For the foreseeable future. This means soon, at some point not too far away. Example, nothing will change for the foreseeable future. The future has in store. What will happen in the future? Example, I wonder what the future has in store. lies ahead, what will happen in the future. Example, I wonder what lies ahead from now on, from this point onwards. Example, from now on, things will be different. Is fast approaching. Something will happen very soon. Example, the time is fast approaching when I have to leave. A feeling of impending doom. This means a feeling that something very bad is going to happen. Example, she has a strong feeling of impending doom. Let's do some practice. Tick the most appropriate of the underlined words. She looks very pale. I think she's going to faint. The appropriate answer here is she's going to faint. This is a prediction based on what's happening now. I'm going to do that for you if you like. The correct answer here is I'll. This is an offer, an immediate decision, and for that we often use will. I'm going to be a rocket scientist when I grow up. The appropriate answer here is I'm going to be, which indicates a personal intention. Somebody's at the door. I'm going to see who it is. Again, an immediate decision based on what's happening now. I need to be home early today, so I am leaving at 4. This is a fixed plan, so we use the present continuous. We'll be in plenty of time providing the traffic will not be too bad. We have a conditional clause here, and in a conditional clause we don't tend to use will. So the answer is not. She asked if I will be so kind as to give her a lift. This is reported speech, and in reported speech we don't use will, but would. What sort of job do you think you will be doing in a few years' time? This is referring to an action which will be in progress at some point in the future. So the appropriate will be will plus present continuous. What do you think you will be doing in a few years' time? By the time you get back, all the food will have gone, will go. This is referring to an event which will be finished at some point in the future. So we're using the future perfect. Will have gone. The marker here is by the time. The 2 prime ministers shall discuss the current economic crisis. We're going to use that formal construction here, be plus infinitive, which is referring to an official arrangement or order. So the correct answer here is are to. Fill each of the numbered gaps in this passage with one suitable word. We have to remember here that one suitable word is very important in exams, and we shouldn't make a mistake here by using 2 or more. Remember that by the terms of the contract, you are to leave before midday, the vice said. There are a couple of options here. The ones that immediately spring to mind are you are due to leave, you are supposed to leave, you are required to leave, you are obliged to leave. And if you have any other alternatives, please write them in the comments and we'll see if they're right. Yes, I know. I was about to pack when you rang. The most appropriate here would be I was just about to do something. I was on the point of it. In a very short time, I was going to do it. Midday, the voice repeated. I know. As I said, I was on the of leaving. Packing, then leaving. So here we could use on the point or on the verge of leaving. This means about to do something in a very, very short period of time. That is, you want to pay for another week, the voice continued. So what the landlord or the owner of the apartment is saying, that if you do not leave now, you will have to pay for another week. So that is unless you want to pay for another week. No, I'll out by 12, I stammered. The correct answer here would be I'll be out by 12. General prediction here of what I am going to do. It does say very clearly on your door that all guests are vacate their rooms by midday, the voice went on. Quite unnecessarily, I thought. The correct answer here is 2. All guests are to vacate their rooms. Remember that we use are or to be plus infinitive for official arrangements, and it's quite formal. Look, I've told you, I shouted. I'll have, before the clock strikes 12. I'll have left or gone, both of which would be appropriate here. The will plus perfect, because we're referring to something that will have happened by a point in the future. I'm in less than 15 minutes. I'm leaving, or I'm going, or you could even say I'm off in less than 15 minutes. This is referring to, with the present continuous, an arrangement, a fixed plan. I'm leaving in less than 15 minutes. The flies, ants and cockroaches will soon partying in a punctually vacated apartment. Have no fear. So here the correct answer was B. Will soon be partying. This is an activity which will be happening during a period in the future. They will soon be partying. Kindly remember that the new occupants in at The correct answer here is move. Move in. This is just the present simple, and this is used for unalterable facts. I know, midday I screamed and threw down the phone. Fill each of the gaps in the following sentences with a suitable word or phrase. So here we're not limited to just one word, but 2 or 3 or perhaps even 4. So we have a little bit more flexibility here. I was just about to have a cup of coffee when Sue called. He was resigning when the news of his promotion came through. Well, what could be happening here? He was on the point of resigning, on the verge of resigning, when the news of his promotion came through. Our builder told me he best to get the materials as soon as he could. This is reported speech, so we wouldn't use will here, but rather would. So we could say, our builder told me he would, and the nice idiomatic expression is would try his best, or would do his best to get the materials as soon as he could. We could also say, our builder told me he was doing his best to get the materials as soon as he could. So just the use of the past here in reported speech. I think we'd better leave this restaurant as soon the bill. To continue this, as soon as what? We're going to need something in the present perfect here. So as soon as we've paid the bill. Remember that as soon as is introducing a future time clause, so we do not use the will, rather we just use the present tense. So here we'll just use present perfect. I think we'd better leave this restaurant as soon as we've paid the bill. If that little boy carries on like that, he accident before long. The most appropriate answer here would be something like, he is going to have. So just the use of be going to for a prediction after looking what's happening now. So here with the, if that little boy carries on like that, it indicates that we're aware of what he's doing right now, and our prediction based on that is that he will have an accident. By the time I qualify, I law for 6 years. So we have our marker here by the time. So that means that in some point in the future, an activity will be in progress. So by the time I qualify, I will have been studying law for 6 years. Our company is over by a multinational. There are several options you could use here. You could use the very formal, our company is to be taken over by a multinational. Again, very formal with to be plus infinitive. We could also say our company is being taken over by a multinational. This was something that indicates it's quite certain. Or we could just say our company is going to be taken over by a multinational, just to say a prediction of what's going to happen based on what we know now. So all of those options would be appropriate. Of course, there are certainly other solutions to these questions. So if you have any alternatives, please write them in the comments and we'll see if they're right.